As a mom, I am deeply concerned about something that is happening in this country that not enough people are talking about. College kids who get caught with drugs are given an ultimatum: either face prison or become a confidential informant, helping cops bust drug deals, and you may walk away. But some do not walk away. They die on the job, and their parents never know anything until it's too late. Rachel Hoffman was 23 when she disappeared in Tallahassee in 2008. Andrew Sadek was 20 when he left his North Dakota dorm room in 2014, never to return. Two disappearances several years and states apart. Both were facing felony drug charges, and their parents had no clue. Rachel had been caught with drugs twice, but Andrew was a first-time offender. He was caught selling $80 worth of pot and brought in for questioning.
Potentially, the max is 40 years in prison, $40,000 fine. You understand that? Yeah. Okay. Obviously, you're probably not going to get 40 years, but is it a good possibility that you're going to get some prison time? If you don't help yourself out, yeah, there is.
Instead of prison time, police offered to cut them a deal, become confidential informants, and help bust other dealers. Both Rachel and Andrew took the deal, a decision that cost both of them their lives. The day she disappeared, Rachel went on her first undercover drug buy.
The cops assured her that in any situation that she was going to be under line of sight supervision the entire time.
She drove to a remote area with cash and a wire, but police lost her within minutes. When the drug dealers found the wire in Rachel's purse, they shot her 5 times and dumped her body 50 miles away. Her parents learned the details of her death and that she was actually a confidential informant on TV.
The chief of police first came on the air saying that she was breaking the laws, that she was a criminal, and basically blamed her for her own death.
Andrew's body was found in a river near campus. He'd been shot in the head, his backpack weighted down with rocks.
From the very, very beginning, when he went missing, the campus police have been treating it as a suicide.
6 months later, Andrew's parents finally learned about the deal their son had made with the police. And Rachel's parents are still grappling with her death.
You never think this is going to happen to you. I sit with her every day. Sometimes I can talk to her, and I miss her dearly.
And joining me now is Rachel's father, Irv Hoffman, and the family attorney, Lance Block. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Irv, as a parent, I grieve for you, and it's been 8 years since you lost Rachel, and I don't know how you deal with the fact that so little has been done since then, that this continues to happen to other kids like your daughter.
Well, I'm heartbroken. I'm heartbroken about Rachel, and I'm heartbroken that the practice of using untrained civilians to do police work continues. Rachel could have been anybody's daughter. She could have been your daughter. She was bright. She traveled. Just a beautiful person inside. Rachel also had a problem with marijuana addiction. And basically, I think the police see people with addiction as criminals.
Well, they said so much in the piece. They
Right.
saw Rachel as a
Right.
criminal, and therefore they thought it was appropriate to give her this option. At the time that police caught up with her, she had a stash of marijuana, a few ecstasy pills, some Valium. So they offered her this deal, but they never told her she had the right to an attorney. How is that legal, Lance?
Well, it's a very clever way that law enforcement dances around the constitutional right that we all have. When we're arrested, we have the right to speak to an attorney. Instead, what they do is they detain. And by detaining, they don't have to advise the recruit that they have a right to an attorney. As a matter of fact, they're told, don't talk to a lawyer, don't talk to your parents. We don't want anybody to know about this. So as a result, in the vast majority of cases, criminal lawyers are going to tell their clients, don't do this, because it's not going to make any difference at the end. They're going to charge you after they've used you. And certainly there's no parent who would ever allow their child to do the most dangerous type of police work, going undercover and wearing a wire with people in In Rachel's case, she didn't even know those men.
Yeah, and these are not savvy criminals here. These are kids who are scared, and you get them there, and they're not even going to think to ask for a lawyer.
Well, the chief of police with the Tallahassee Police Department, after the case was over, after they were sued, he was deposed, and he said that Rachel should have never been used as a confidential informant to begin with, much less go out and do a mission like she was sent out on, where they knew a gun was going to be present.
Yeah, it was the largest drug bust in Tallahassee history. She's 23 years old when she's out. That's the age of my daughter, Lily. The men who did this were eventually convicted of her murder, sentenced to life in prison. And her view also won a $2.8 million civil suit against the city of Tallahassee and a formal apology. Is that justice for you?
Not really.
Yeah.
There really isn't any justice. The two men who killed Rachel are certainly in jail, but how about the police officer, Ryan Pender?
Well, where is he? Where is Ryan?
Ryan Pender was fired from his job, but then went through mediation and got his job back. Basically, the Tallahassee Police Department agreed with him, saying that there were no policies and police procedures. Police just wing it. They do whatever they want to do.
So it's okay, whatever
They're
happens.
above the law. They didn't have any rules to follow, and that's what Ryan Pender did. He's back working for the Tallahassee Police Department, correct.
Well, in honor of Rachel, you helped write a bill, Lance, called Rachel's Law to regulate confidential informants. How will this prevent deaths like Rachel's in the future? And this is only in Florida.
Yeah, first and foremost, it requires that whenever law enforcement uses a recruit, the priority is the safety of the CI, that there's always another drug deal, and they're not supposed to put the life of a CI behind a drug deal, which is what happened in Rachel's case. And in my opinion, we shouldn't be using civilians who are untrained, who haven't been to a police academy, who haven't been certified as a vice undercover officer out doing the most dangerous type of police work there is.
And often these kids that are picked up with a couple of ounces of marijuana, and then they're out trying to get these other guys.
Exactly. I mean, like we saw with Andrew Sadek was looking at a drug court program. If he had talked to a lawyer or if he'd had an opportunity to talk to his parents.
Instead, he's dead.
Instead, he's dead.
We did reach out to the Tallahassee Police Department for a statement, and I have to read what they said. In part, they said, the hearts and thoughts of the entire TPD family are with the Hoffmans as they deal with this terrible tragedy. Although nothing can ever bring Rachel back, TPD has made significant changes to its policies and practices in terms of how we work with all confidential informants in the hopes that this type of situation never again darkens our community. And the full statement is available on our website.
You know, the other thing is we don't know how many people are being used as confidential informants all over the country. There's probably thousands of people that are being used as confidential informants. We don't know how many have been killed. We don't know how many are injured. And police and law enforcement are not willing to give up that information.
Or Rachel was your only child.
My only child, correct.
She,
yeah.
You kept a letter that she wrote to you before she went off to college, and you've laminated it. And we asked if you would read a portion of that.
Sure,
Could you do
sure,
that?
I have it here.
Thank you.
Dad, please don't worry about me. I'm a very smart, independent girl, and I do have morals and ethics that you taught me, which will not be left at home. Have faith, old man. I'll be just fine.
And when you read those words now?
It makes me sad, of course it does. It triggers a lot of emotion. I'll never have grandchildren. Rachel was my only child. I think what happened to her is just, you know, it's heartbreaking. I'll never get over this. I just don't want it to happen to anybody else. That's my journey and that's my cause. And I think that, you know, police have to understand that these people like Rachel have families and people that love them and care about them. They're not throwaways. They're not disposable people that could just be used on their whims. There has to be some rules and legislation, policies and procedures, not just in the state of Florida, but all over the country.
All over the country.